We've reached our final film for August, Straight Outta Compton. This is one of those movies that I was curious to see when it hit the theaters because it got so much praise at the time, but I just never got around to seeing it. Thanks, University. So I was super happy when it happened to meet all the criteria to land it on my Flashback Films list. This film gave me the opportunity to be a little more exposed to music that I wouldn't normally listen to, and it was really cool to see how these guys changed a lot of things, not just in the music industry, but in the social sphere overall. As always, let's see the box office stats and do a recap of the film before we get into the movie. With a budget of $29 million, Straight Outta Compton generated an overall domestic revenue of $161,197,785. This gang of rappers did, however, lose the #1 spot in monthly earnings that August to Mission Impossible: Rogue Nation. While our overall winner brought in $135,355,085 its first month in office, Mission Impossible snagged first place with $150,666,858. So close, but just missed the mark. Straight Outta Compton is the true story of Dr. Dre, Eazy-E, Ice Cube, MC Ren, and DJ Yella as they form NWA and pioneer reality rap in an age dominated by police brutality and anything but equal civil rights. From the gangs of Compton, to fame, the fall, and their recovery, these musicians face it all in this fast-paced and larger-than-life film. Now on to the opinions.
That's what I'm talking about, man.
So I'd heard from someone that this could be considered a musical. After watching it, I think I disagree. There were quite a bit of songs. There was quite a bit of singing, stage performances, recordings, you name it, but I wouldn't call this a musical. Yes, reality rap in essence is talking about what these people are going through, but the music scenes were not like, we're singing as we're going on a journey, we're singing as we're questing, we're singing to get this scene across. The music was there to enhance the point. You're not there for a musical, you're there to appreciate what this music did, and is still doing today. The beginning of this movie was a mix of music scenes to a whole bunch of just straight out police cruelty and backlash from the population that hated what the NWA was doing. It then moved from just an incessant amount of police cruelty to more of the gang-like brutality aspect of it, where the NWA were, I guess, founded, brought together, lived together originally. Compton. It was a whole bunch of gang violence, and it's not like they can just get away from that. It follows them, and it just escalates the more and more they rise to fame. To the point where I actually thought some of this was just the movie taking liberties, creative liberties, Hollywoodizing it, if you will. But again, after doing my research afterwards, a lot of this stuff was very much real. Some of it, of course, was fabricated by Hollywood just to make the narrative fast-paced, keep up, because Hollywood is Hollywood and will do whatever. But it was wild to see what these guys went through. Again, it follows Ice Cube, who was actually played by O'Shea Jackson Jr., his son. He actually had 4 wins and 6 nominations for this film. Eazy-E, played by Jason Mitchell, also had 3 wins and 6 nominations for this film. Dr. Dre, played by Corey Hawkins, 2 wins and 3 nominations. MC Ren, who was played by Aldous Hodge, and DJ Yella, who was played by Neil Brown Jr., both of which were nominated in the Screen Actors Guild Awards for Outstanding Performance by a Cast in a Motion Picture. We also had the amazing Oscar nominee Paul Giamatti playing Jerry Heller. He also got a win and a nomination for his performance. So everybody did an excellent job. I could feel the grit, the anger, the emotion, all of it. And it was really cool to learn that these actors actually re-recorded the entirety of the Straight Outta Compton album to help them get into character. But I will say that even though it followed these 5 musicians, it focused more heavily on Ice Cube, Eazy-E, and Dr. Dre. There were far less scenes with MC Ren and DJ Yella, where they were the main focus. It makes sense that Ice Cube would be one of the focal points since he had a hand in making this film. It would also make sense that Eazy-E would also be a focal point as he has passed since them, and this movie was also a tribute to him as well. Dr. Dre seems like an interesting choice to me because of all of the negative things. We're going to leave it at the treatment of women. Like, it got to the point in the movie where I almost stopped to pause to see if maybe I was getting my musicians mixed up, because he was portrayed in a better light in this time of his life, where all of these bad things were happening. I'm not sure if they felt like it was too dangerous and just kind of decided to gloss over it and make him into more of a character than this is what actually happened, if you will. But I think in order to keep up the inspiring tone that they were clearly going for, they definitely had to pull the reins on all the negativity that surrounded Dr. Dre at that time. So as far as what's fabricated for Hollywood and what's true, it sucks that they're having to fabricate a little bit more of the storyline to pull the punches on his storyline, but it makes a little bit more sense why they had to do that. We do have some other crazy stuff, though, going on, like, regardless of whether or not they were pulling punches on what was happening with Dre at the time, as, you know, at the height of their careers. There's this whole scene where Eazy-E gets beat up by Suge, and it's pretty damn horrible. And the following aftermath, where Eazy-E is talking to their manager, Jerry Heller, that he wants Suge dead. I'm like, oh my gosh, are we actually really going to go through with it? Because I don't know these guys' stories all too well. But it was just wild to me that people were just getting away with beating up like these high-profile celebrities. But it was even wilder to me that Heller actually stated after the fact that he actually regrets stopping Eazy-E from trying to kill Suge. There was clearly a lot of bad blood between Jerry Heller and the NWA in this film, and yeah, that statement doesn't help the allegations there. Their music career was anything but easy, even with the whole business side of it as well. There's a scene, also true, not fabricated, was Ice Cube actually smashing up an office because he wasn't being paid what he was promised for a second album after he splits from the NWA, thanks to Jerry Heller, who's been ripping him off, along with, I think, all of the cast. He goes solo, cuts a deal with the same company, and still ends up getting screwed over until after he goes and smashes up an office with a baseball bat. But again, still wild to me that this was actually true and not just a Hollywood thing. As far as the other stuff that was true, but not quite true, was the FBI letter. I was very interested in that. Whenever the scene played out in the movie, they get a letter essentially saying that the FBI is angry at them for creating the song Fuck the Police and the effect that it's having, and they need to stop playing that and become less ragey in a nutshell. And they're like, hell yeah, that's like a badge of honor. We can take this to the public and be like, see, this is what they're trying to do to us. This is why our music's so important. But even though that is true, it's not entirely true, IRL. It looks like that letter was sent from one person that was really against what they were trying to do to make their voice heard. It wasn't like the whole of the FBI. The FBI even issued a statement saying like, no, we aren't trying to revoke the First Amendment from the bans, kind of deal. But that's what it appeared to be. I'm not sure what happens to the agent after the fact. But that letter is actually on display at the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame in Cleveland. So if I'm ever in Cleveland, I know I definitely have to go lay eyes on that. The Detroit show was also an extra chaotic point in the film where the NWA do in fact go up and sing "Fuck the Police" after the police have warned them, do not do it or you will suffer the consequences. Of course they're gonna do it because they're angry and they're like, you can't tell us what to do. Shit hits the fan, riots happen, and they get carted off in a police vehicle. However, in actuality, it was not the police that told them not to do anything. It was the tour promoter that told them not to do anything antagonistic, if you will. The riots broke out because the amplifiers at the venue were turned off. It wasn't the police that had an issue with it. They did get arrested still, but it was after they made it back to the hotel because of the riots. And Ice Cube insists that the police were like cool and wanted autographs at the end of the day. Eazy-E's story wasn't entirely accurate as well. In it, he ends up losing all of his money because Jerry Heller has been screwing them over, and he ends up having to essentially downsize or downgrade from his mansion to a regular house and starts pushing marijuana again. But there's no proof that that actually happened. I guess they just needed a clear-cut catalyst for the Heller breakup when he's free from Jerry Heller. Everyone around him had been saying the entire time, at least in the film, that, hey, Jerry Heller isn't as great as you think he is. Jerry Heller was the guy that Eazy-E talked to help them climb to fame. In the film, you definitely got the sense that he felt very obligated, and so he's just blind to everything that he's been doing. At the end as well, that he ends up calling up all of the NWA saying that he's sorry, like he regrets how things went down and he would love to create songs like they used to, and everyone ends up saying yes. And in the film, he actually gets to reunite with MC Ren and DJ Yella before he ends up going to the hospital because he's officially succumbed to AIDS. But in actuality, he didn't end up getting to reunite with everyone at the end. Dr. Dre and Ice Cube both say that they do think they would have made more albums as the NWA. Like, yes, there was intention to get the group together to meet up to do it. Like the call was made, but it just sucks that he had to pass before they could reunite and make amends. They probably wouldn't have been on the best of terms after everything that had happened between them, but I think we would have gotten some crazy awesome music from them if they had the opportunity to reunite. So this movie was definitely heavy, as it's just nonstop with disaster after disaster, misfortune after misfortune, and everything that they just push through, right, to make their voices be heard. And it was in fact a super inspiring movie. I'd recommend it, especially if you're in the music scene, if you haven't seen it already. It was a good watch. So if you've seen this film, let me know your thoughts in the comments. Let me know your favorite song from these guys. It could be from NWA as a whole or any of them as, you know, on their own. I'd love to know which one it is. And I will see you guys next time back in 1985.